Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Yeah, what? There it is. There it is. So I'm going to go back and replay about 3 months ago, I made the thing on the glasses where I was Brett Baer, Fox News, how he studs it out when he takes his glasses off. And ever since that day, you'll watch the show. Drive Safe Dave now imitates Sir Rick trying to be like Brett Baer.
Actually, this stems all the way back from CSI Miami, and
you never did it until I brought.
No,
I've
been watching.
Now
you
can't.
Absolutely
it's like,
not.
You know,
look, I tell you
like,
what, you
Sir
can't
Rick,
take credit.
Do I look like you yet, Sir Rick?
No, I'm telling you right now, CSI Miami, Horatio Caine did this every program, and I was a big fan of Horatio Caine way back in 2001.
I'll show it. Hey, detour sign. Let's detour off this subject. You know that I'm right. Detour, drive safe. What are we doing when we see the detour sign?
This is a cautionary sign wanting to let you know that the route has changed and you will move along the detoured path. This is a design to indicate go this way. Don't continue to go the other way.
I just got to ask you, because I love you. Did you wake up late this morning?
No.
In a hurry, something? I mean, it's like you got a little ramp action going on
Actually,
up there.
I don't want to
your
say.
Your hair,
I fell down getting out of the shower.
You what?
I fell. I slipped and fell.
Are you okay?
Yeah, man.
What happened?
I slipped.
So you didn't have time to do your hair?
No, I just slipped and fell. It hurt. I sat there for a minute.
Man, let me tell you something, young man behind the TV over there. At our age, when you fall, it hurts. And sometimes when you think about falling, it hurts because you start trying to prep yourself and you start pulling muscles. And
I don't. You know what? I looked like Spaz. Once I started to slip, I looked like Spaz King.
Well, thank God nobody had to come in and rescue you. Right?
Yeah,
let's get right down to it.
I was fine. My pride was hurt a little bit more.
You're able to pull yourself back up.
Pride was hurt a little bit more than anything else. I don't, and of course my wife heard the cry out and and then she comes in there and she's, "Are you okay?" Or I was like, "I'm good. Just let me alone a minute. I'm fine." She's like, "Are you sure you're going me?" "No, I'm fine. Give me a second. I need to just get up."
Well, good. You know what? If you had gotten hurt, you had gone to the hospital, there was a chance that a 13-year-old could have seen you there. They knew.
I saw that.
You see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's pretty slick. You know, there's some smart people in the world, and I don't have any of them in my family. Not one. You know,
it's something you read about. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, she's like a Doogie Howser right here. 13-year-olds, graduates, get accepted to pre-med. 13 years old, right?
She's already a junior in college. And she's 13. You know, she'll be president by what? By 21?
You know what? I can't wait to take this home and talk to my daughter. Again, my son, no expectations for him. I'm good. Whatever, he graduated high school. He had already exceeded my expectations. When he did college, he put himself in the will forever. He can't do anything to disappoint me now. My girls, on the other hand, you know what? The two, especially at home right now, one goes to college, Alabama Roll Tide, and she's already starting. Well, this class is a little tough. I'm gonna redo my major.
That's my favorite. Yeah, going to
this girl's 13 years old.
Yeah, and she's not redoing it. She's even talking about med school and NASA. I mean.
So it is a neat story. She was adopted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So phenomenal story to see that and to see. But again, it's all you have to do is apply yourself. I could have graduated, I think, at the age of 15, but I chose to hang out there and do the thing with the kids. I could have been a doctor as well. Chose to this route I was on right now. But I'm saying when you apply yourself,
yes,
a lot of things happen. You don't. I mean. Really, honest to God, you apply yourself, things happen. Take, for example, the pilot back in 2018. There's a guy that's a ground crewsman. He's not even a pilot. I'm giving him more credit than he deserves. He was in Seattle, Tacoma Airport, walks in.
He's a baggage handler.
He's a baggage handler. Goes out, he's got his vest on. This is what I like about him. Puts his vest on, goes through security, drags the plane out to the runway.
Yeah.
It's moving. He hops on it and
I
takes
wish you
it
had
for
the
a
video.
flight.
I wish you had some of it. This dude did aerial tricks. I mean, he's sailing around. He's flying. I remember when this happened. And the guy just said, you know what? I'm just going to crash.
Tell me that's not the only video we have.
No.
It's right there,
yeah.
all we saw?
Yeah, they have the whole
Oh,
video.
my goodness. I mean, there's video of this plane going down,
Soaring up.
Takes him taking it out. It's absolutely amazing. He's obviously something wrong with the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Ruled it a homicide.
Yeah.
I mean, ruled it a suicide.
I think just now, crashed into an island.
Yeah.
You know,
He said, I'm just going to go to the island and crash because there's nobody there. And I'm telling you, he actually flew the plane pretty incredible.
no, it was. I mean, again, he's not
it to
a
its
pilot.
limits.
He's not licensed at all. He was talking to the air traffic controllers. They're trying to get him down, and he's just kind of joking with them in a way, right?
Like, yeah, no, I'm good. They got any aircraft over there. I mean, I'm like, and they were like, hey, and he was like, yeah, I played a few video games. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm up here. I've played video games, and I'm telling you, crazy story. This happened. I remember we talked about this on the show when it came out originally, when this story first broke years ago, and here we are. Now they're releasing video footage. Why wait 3 years?
Yeah, it's been a little while, right?
Why wait so long?
They didn't wait very long in Florida, though. We had a gator on the run there, and it's an aggressive gator in Florida. And you shut down the park
because it was eating a duck? I'm not sure. Does that make it aggressive or just hungry? I mean, because if
I don't know, I've been pretty
if
aggressive.
people see me then out there at the out eating, I'm obviously the most aggressive
guy.
guy.
The gator's walking around. It's on the golf course, with the duck. Pardon the pun of birdie. But it was a. I don't know, Dave. I just think it's a gator. You're in Florida. Expect it. What is? And there's a kid photoing this thing on the video. Did you see that? Of course, we don't have video here, but. But there's a video, of the thing, and the kid's walking up on it, and the gator's walking away from him. I'm saying that's not really the sign of aggression. Not yet.
It's trying to get away from you.
Yes, I'm saying, hey, mijo, get out of the way before you become the duck in his mouth, right?
That thing, and by the way, those things can move. I mean, they can run fast.
Well, he was up tall. There's no doubt about it. He wasn't scooting across.
Oh no, those things can run faster than you can run. I mean,
Negative.
100%.
No, not back in the day.
Okay,
today.
Back in the day,
today I can't even run. I got 2 bad knees that have been replaced, and all of this. I'm overweight. That's not saying a lot. Like, hey, they're even faster than you, Sir Rick.
Faster than humans.
Alligators can run 35 miles per hour on land.
They're faster than humans. They got 4 legs.
Back in the day,
you can run 35 miles an hour.
For a minute, I could. Yes.
No way.
Yes.
What's the fastest speed? Usain Bolt, what's the fastest he ever ran? Like, what, 19 miles an hour or something crazy?
27.3.
Okay, so you think he can make 35? You can run.
Every alligator runs exactly that. There's not faster alligators.
Okay, let's just say there's an average alligator at 31. He's at 31. Could you ever run as fast as Usain Bolt?
I had some moves, though.
What does that mean?
Like the juke them, like go to the left and go to the right real quick.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Kind of Barry Sanders-ish out there on the field
Barry
running around.
Sanders.
You know what?
I didn't even know that was a word.
Yes, it is. Hey, Drive Safe, let's hop into the market real quick before we go to our interview today. We saw the big pop-up up here at 12,791. So freight moved back up. Again, today's the day that we really want to see it when we start looking at Tuesday's numbers, okay? So yesterday it jumped up to 12,008. That's a good number. Again, it kind of puts it, in an area that we like. And let's go back and just show the last few years. So when we go back and look at last year during this same time, freight was crushing it. It was at almost 16,000. It moved way back up to 15,800, back where it was. Today it moves back up to 13,000. You go back a few years and the freight tends to hang out around that 10,000 mark. The same thing on the rejections. A lot of freight gets shipped out yesterday, and all of a sudden we're like, whoa, we get a little scared. I'm talking rejections went up 7% yesterday, up to 7.39. So a big amount of freight hit that spot market yesterday. Don't expect the same thing today as the asset base as the primary carriers kind of reel themselves in, get used to freight. For again, we forget about this all the time on the holidays. But Dave, I want to kind of show this in retrospect as well into the last, say, 5 years. All right. So here we go. We're going back and look at the last 5 years on the rejection rate. This way up here, that was last year at 22%. So again, you think about rates for a second. At almost 16,000 loads a day, 23% of that freight is getting rejected, hitting the spot market side.
Over 3,000.
Yeah, it's just a lot of revenue, a lot of loads on that, and all of a sudden it's all about money on that. You go back to where freight normally is at 10,000, it's about 5% rejection rate. Today, again, at 7.39, that's still decent freight at 12,800. More freight than we've seen really in any other time than last year. So freight's still moving heavy. Now we still have the big worry about, right now, about inventory, about fuel pricing, about all of these things. And although fuel continues to come down, Dave, we can look at fuel for a second here. See if I can bring that over here. We look at the fuel for a second. I want you to see this. This is the thing that we have to really kind of look at right now on the fuel is going to be the spread right now. So watch this. Let's see what we have here. All right. So this is the retail to wholesale spread. And when you look at a year, you look at any time, the numbers will tend to kind of hang out about $1. You have some fluctuations right here. It usually hangs out about break even at $1. The spread today, the retail to wholesale spread is $1.50, $1.59. I want to just look at the 5-day. Let's see if we can do this in a month. So what this means, Dave, I just want you to go with me for a second. If the DOE comes out on the 23rd, right? It comes out on the 23rd of this month, and we say it's going to be $1.20, $1.12. That's when the DOE comes out. Fuel, you're paying fuel at $1.12. Those are the big trucking companies. Well, the next 7 days, from the 23rd all the way to the 30th, fuel has gone up, to 32 cents. It's gone up 17 cents. You're not getting that money back.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, fuel comes out again the next Tuesday at $1.32. Fuel continues to go up. We go to the 3rd, 4th-ish. And all of a sudden now, Dave, we're sitting at $1.50, $1.52. Again, the companies aren't able to get that money back. The big trucking companies, they're charging fuel at the DOE price.
Once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah.
And if the pricing keeps going up for those next 7 days, they continue to lose. So that volatility really does affect either the trucking company or a lot of times the gasoline company, the one selling the fuel. So pretty just interesting stuff. We'll see if we can get John Kingston back on here to go over this. He's an expert when it comes to fuel. Drive safe, Dave. Next, we have we got Brian Devaney back on the show again.
Yep, I'm going to talk
We're
a
going
little
to talk
bit safety.
safety. We're going to talk safety support systems. We're going to talk helmets. We're going to talk all about these things that make you safe out there at your job site. You don't have to just be driving down the road, Dave, to be safe.
Nope.
It has to be with, when you see these detour signs, a lot of times there's construction workers there.
Yep.
There's things out there that we want to make sure that we're doing to help our industry stay safe. So much more, but we're going to start with that, Dave, in about a minute on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. In the house, we have Brian Devaney coming at us. What you got going, Brian?
Hey, not too much. It's good to see you. And I didn't realize I was going to be interviewed by one of the fastest human beings on the planet today. So that's pretty exciting.
In the day, back in the day,
Yeah,
notice
back
how
in the day, not today. And it grew. A lot of people don't realize I grew up overseas, and we ran. That's what it was like. I mean, we were in the jungle. We were. That's how we did, swinging from vines and running from gators and tires. It's just what we did, Brian, and we did it without a helmet on.
Well, that's impressive.
Hey, so as we talk about, some of the safety devices, we're just going to hop into it because it's what we were talking about before the show, helmets, and Dave, when you think about football, you think about all the, football helmets, how they've really came up and changed. It's all about that concussion. It's all about safety. Brian, have we seen the same thing in the construction sites?
Well, we're starting to, and it's actually something that, out of all the things that I find myself doing day to day, it's something that I'm the most passionate about. We are nowhere in the world do we seek to protect people's brains as poorly as we do in construction. Their traditional, granddad's hard hat, the one that you see, that iconic symbol of construction, right? The only thing that is designed to do is to protect a worker from falling objects. It doesn't protect a worker should they slip, trip, or fall. And falls, by the way, are the number one cause of death and the number one cause of injury on construction sites every single year. So, a significant injury, I should say. So the trend that we're seeing in this country is a movement to helmets. And there's a company that's based out of Europe. And by the way, when it comes to safety, a lot of the innovation in safety comes from Europe. There's a company based out of Italy, Cask, that really is driving the trend towards better brain protection in this country. And so we're seeing some of the largest GCs and the largest companies in the world in this country that are driving the initiative to saying, you know what, we are going to end the proper amount of dollars to protect their brains so they can get home at night.
So on these the helmets that most of us use today, the newer ones coming out, are they more comfortable? Are they what's the big difference in the say the new versus the old?
Sure. So there is a comfort factor for sure. One of the things that you'll hear when you talk about helmets is performance, and so it's a breathability factor. There's an airflow factor. In addition to that, these helmets sit lower on your head, so you actually have some situational awareness as to where the top of your head happens to land.
Yeah, so the look of them is much different. Like I'll tell you here for drivers, a lot of them carry like the old hard hat inside the truck because they got to go to certain job sites and they'll throw them on. How much different is that look at, you said it sits lower, but is it still the same basic shell design, or is it a much different look?
It's completely different. It looks like a helmet. It doesn't have that traditional brim that you're used to seeing in a hard hat. It comes with a chin strap, right? And it also has a specialized, in order for this helmet to do what we need it to do, it's very, very important for somebody out there to understand that this is a buyer beware situation. There are ANSI, which is the American standards for head protection. Well, there are a European standard that's far more stringent. It's EN 12492. And what it designed is it's impact, but it's also retention. So this thing is going to stay on your head. So to answer your question, it looks different. It feels different. It's far more comfortable. I always joke, I'm up here in Philadelphia, and I always joke that I sweat when it snows out. And in the middle of the summer, a few years back, I'm wearing my helmet, and I left the job site and I was crossing the street and I just ran my hand through my hair and my hair was bone dry. And it did a phenomenal job of keeping me cooler. And I didn't even realize it until I was crossing the street.
I'll tell you, having ridden motorcycles, the helmet itself on a motorcycle, if you drop it or what have you got to replace it because it only has a one crash deal. Is that going to be the same kind of construction that we're talking about for these helmets?
So what we're going to tell you is a couple things. One, just as with any piece of protective equipment you use, you should inspect it prior to each use. And that isn't, once a day. That's, if you take your helmet off to eat lunch, inspect it before you put it back on. But if you drop it from just, standing height, things like that, we don't have to take it out of service. However, if it was involved in an impact event, meaning you slipped, tripped, and fell, or something knocked into it, we're going to suggest that you take it out of service.
Gotcha. And for the construction worker out there that's saying, man, that can get expensive,
Yeah.
replace these, I'm going to say, hey, consider a different job if you continue to get your head and slip and fall. Maybe you're in the wrong profession on that. Hey, Brian, I like that side, the cost. So let's talk about that. Is there a major difference in the cost of that, say, the Euro standard versus the ANSI?
There is. There's a significant difference. The cost is going to be, that $100 plus price point, where people today are used to paying, $12 to $15. But my answer to that is, those of us in the trades, we won't hesitate to spend $200 on a good pair of steel toe boots that might last us a year. But a quality helmet you're going to find that it is a 10-year helmet. It carries a long-term warranty, like 3 years. So this thing is designed to stay with you. So when you take that cost, you say, this thing's going to stay with me for 10 years. And now all of a sudden, and it's $15, then we're talking a low cost for a product that, in my opinion, is going to save your life in the event of a slip, trip, or fall. I happen to, through the pandemic and leading up to now, I know of 6 people that are alive today because they were wearing helmets. And that's just people that I'm connected with.
I'm thinking we need to get Drive Safe Dave one for the shower after the story today. Did you hear that?
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking of some products I had that might be able to keep you a little safer.
You know what? I'm all in. After I sat down hard today, I'm all in, because that is not a good move by my part. All right, Brian, let's talk a little bit about, I got to hear a note here. What is a lasher?
So I had a really cool experience. I guess about 3 weeks now. I had to go up to, with some colleagues, up to one of the largest ports in the New York City metro area. There are folks on that port that their job, when a ship comes into port, these containers are lashed to the ship, right? Make sure that they don't fall off while they're traveling at sea. And conversely, when the container ship is leaving that port, they lash those containers back down for their journey back to wherever they're headed. So a lasher's job is to climb up on these containers and unfasten the containers so that they can be removed by the cranes. You want to talk about a dangerous job, exposed to multiple hazards, and not to mention a fall, which is significant enough, but then, a lot of that fall could be into water, which creates a whole other set of problems.
So what are some of the PPE, what's some of the equipment, and what's some of the things involved in when we're discussing this job? Obviously, you went there as the safety to learn about it. So tell us what we're doing in regards to these lasher and protecting them out there on the ships.
So what these folks do is there's a basket that is essentially lifted up on a crane, and it's put on top of the containers. That basket is what they use to connect their fall protection equipment to so that they can operate. So we've solved a problem because we've given them something to connect to. Should they fall, we're going to arrest that fall, right? That's a win. But the thing that we don't talk about, and I call it the dirtiest secret in fall protection, is rescue. Is we've done everything right, but we've still fallen. Now what do we do? And the challenge is that calling 911, while should be part of your rescue plan, can't be your complete rescue plan. We should be able to, at any job site, whether you're at a marine terminal, a construction site, whatever it happens to be, we should have the adequate equipment and ability to effect a rescue in a timely manner. Because, we talk about, and a lot of times in this country, we think about the big cities and all that, but there's a lot of America that's very rural, and it could take quite a while for rescue services to get on site and effect a rescue. So at job sites, we need to be able to do that ourselves.
You probably see some of the same scenarios in oil and gas, right? Where they're out in the middle of nowhere, and you have to be able to rescue at that point. There's no calling 911. It'll take too long.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a concern. So how do we address that? And I'm fortunate enough to have been able to partner up with some folks that are making products that take rescue and take the complication of rescue and can make it very, very easy. There are some scenarios where we just need a technical rescue team. There's nothing we can do about it. But most of the common scenarios, with the right equipment, we could get that rescue done in a pretty efficient manner.
You know, we've had several guests on, and one of the things that was brought up is that even that harness that holds the guy and arrests them from their fall isn't all. Once it's done that, it becomes then a dangerous moment in getting them out of that harness and rescuing them, right? Being trapped in that harness for a while can also cause its own set of problems, right?
It absolutely can. There's a terminology out there that's called suspension trauma. The technical term is orthostatic intolerance. So when you fall and you're hanging there, what happens is that, the blood is pumping through your heart and it gets to your lower extremities. Well, something that I've learned over the course of years is that once the blood gets down towards your feet, it needs you to help it pump back up towards your heart. And how do we do that? Well, we move. Whether we know it or not, we're always moving. And we're doing that unconsciously to help keep the blood flowing in our body. So when you're suspended there, the blood can't pump up as adequately as possible. So it winds up pooling. It's something called lactic acidosis, which can essentially create it turns your blood almost into a poison, but can also create blood clots, which can cause cardiac arrest, stroke, you name it. So just because we've arrested the fall doesn't mean the emergency has just begun. And this concept of suspension trauma can set in a matter of 5 minutes. It doesn't take long.
When you're teaching the rescue out there in the field, is that happening on the whiteboard? Is it classroom? How are you teaching rescue?
So it's a mix of both. You're using the whiteboard. We're talking about it. We're doing some theory talk. But when we're educating adults, the best way, and really we see it in the world with no matter what the age of the student is these days, is hands-on. So we'll actually, I've got a trailer that I drive around with, and I have a 13-foot boom that I can actually lift up. And so I can use my winch and I can raise you up about a foot off the ground, right? It's safe, it's controlled, but you can feel what the effects of hanging in a harness feel like. There's I call it the $25 solution to $1 million problem. There's a device out there, they're called trauma relief straps. They connect to your harness. So assuming that no other medical event has happened, you're conscious, alert, oriented, you can deploy those trauma relief straps, step into them, and what it does is it takes the pressure off of those leg straps around your legs. It allows you to hang there longer so that you can be rescued.
That's a cool piece of equipment. What's some of the equipment that rescuers are using to come get you? I mean, what are some of those equipments? Because obviously you're teaching them different deals. What are some of the equipment that they should be equipped with and know how to use?
Sure. So there's been devices in the construction world called controlled descent devices. And again, an innovation from Europe that is brought to this country by a company called Faltech is a product called the Unidrive system. And the Unidrive system is a multifaceted controlled descent. I can raise somebody up, I can lower them down, I can use a wheel, a ratchet, I can use a drill. So it creates a very quick and effective rescue solution. So what we're trying to do is offer a solution when we're training our clients that will help them effect a rescue, and they don't have to deploy an extensive amount of rope and rigging and have hours and hours and hours of training. With a system like I mentioned, I can train you in 2 hours, and you can be competent in the operation of that equipment.
So Brian, if people want to get to you and talk to you and find out more about all of the safety solutions that you're talking about, how do they do that?
So I'm all over the place. You can find me on LinkedIn, Brian Devaney. You can find me on Instagram, B Devaney Safety, Twitter, the same handle. So I'm pretty accessible. If you Google search me, you're probably going to find me, Brian Devaney Sales Solutions. We're out there in the universe, and our job is quite simple. What we want to do is we want to help people, find the products that will intersect with what they need, right? Compliance and doing the right thing. And that's what our business is.
That's fantastic. All right, Brian, man, we appreciate you coming on. We're always here to support safety. We want you to get the word out about safety and always work to make it happen. But before you go, we want to ask you to state your name, who you're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that?
Sure can. I'm Brian Devaney with Sales Solutions Incorporated. You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Well, you can always
Thanks,
tell
guys.
those
See you again.
veterans that have been on the show. Thank you, Brian. They know
Take
how
care.
to say it.
Yeah, they got it down. They got it. They're in fact, I think they call us and they call us up. They want to practice it a little
Oh yeah,
bit.
there's no doubt about it. Hey honey, how did this sound? They stay up late at night trying to make sure.
Because they mess up the first time,
I know.
And they feel so guilty about it. They got to get back on so they can say that one line. I'm telling you, it's soul relieving when you can go through it.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, here's a guy coming up next that never makes a mistake. It's our weatherman. He's here to talk weather. We're going to talk a little heat, I'm sure. Hot, Dave.
Wow.
Hot. I don't even
Okay.
know if he needs to come up here now.
I'm just going to tell you right now, in our area, we're at number 10 today over triple digits, and we are projected to be another 10. So we may go 20 straight right now. That's what it's projected. It's too hot.
It's hot. It makes you slip out of the shower. We're coming up next with Double Check Dale on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety. One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection, yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hey, good morning and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation at Double Check Dale, here to talk a little bit of weather, and then we're going to talk some safety, look at some videos. Hey, going on in the weather today, if we start out with the winds, not a lot going on today, actually a pretty calm day. No major wind gusts or events until a little bit later this afternoon when we start seeing the winds pick up in the Northeast, up in Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and the New England states really start to get pretty windy mid-afternoon through late afternoon. Some dangerous gusts will be up in that area. We're going to see gusts in excess of 40 miles an hour up in that area. And those winds persist until about 8, 9 o'clock this evening, and then they die down, and it's really a pretty quiet evening as far as winds go. Thunderstorms and rain and precipitation today. Not a lot going on there either. Currently, no major storms or severe storms. Project a little bit of rain in the southern part of Ohio and Indiana. A little bit, a few showers out in Kansas. A little bit in Florida, but just not a lot going on as far as precipitation goes. As we slide this into the afternoon hours, we do see some showers pop up out in New Mexico and Arizona. A band of showers through Kentucky, West Virginia, but none of those are projected to get severe with strong winds or damaging hail or anything like that. And then we go a little bit later into the evening. There's still some rain around in the Tennessee area, North Carolina, still up in New Mexico, Colorado, but no major storms projected there, tornadoes or anything like that. But the big temperature, or the big story is the heat, and it's just hot, folks. It's just hot. Most of Texas today will be under heat advisory. Waco is under excessive heat advisory, which means that the temperatures are going to feel in excess of about 111, 112 down there due to the humidity and everything. And it's those heat advisories stay in effect until 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. So it is just hot out there, folks. So I'm just going to remind you again. Have plenty of water. Take it easy. Know the signs of heat stroke and heat stress. If you're not feeling good, feeling a little dizzy, take that break. Get some rest. Let somebody know. Hey, if you know anybody elderly or like that or shut-ins, hey, check on them because this heat is real. Just need to do the right thing and keep in contact with everybody. With that, we're going to take a short break and come back and talk about safety.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear affords the wearer durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. This week's safety, we're talking about intersection safety. You know, intersections are dangerous. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the tips on how to make them a little less dangerous. And one of the things we talk about here is stale green lights, being prepared to stop for them. So, you know, the key thing is managing your speed going into an intersection with a stoplight. You know, be prepared to stop. If that light changes, have the time and the space to stop instead of trying to speed up and race through that intersection, because that's really what makes them dangerous. You know, approximately 10% of intersection crashes are from making the false assumption that the other driver is going to stop or the other driver is not going to turn. And so we just have to be prepared, know that big picture, situational awareness, read the signs. And so just the major thing about intersections, slow down, be prepared to stop. So that's our safety topic today. Let's go to some videos.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the first video we got today is called Adjust Following Distance for Conditions.
You know, so again, we're dark out there, and we always talk about, you know, road conditions, weather conditions, lighting conditions, and we're under a second here. We're following just too close. The visibility is down a little bit, so we just have to make sure that we increase that following distance and make sure we make adjustments to the different things that are going on around us. That situational awareness, you know, it's dark, and so we can't see out, so we can't see as far ahead and everything. So we need to be able to slow down and stop within the space of our headlights.
Next video we got is called Don't Let Heavy Traffic Influence Your Following.
You know, heavy traffic, a lot of time we get caught up in that pack mentality. Everybody else is driving this speed, and the distances between us are too close and everything. It just becomes a mindset, and we get into that same mindset. So when we get in this pack condition or heavy traffic, we just have to really be aware of what's going on around us. And if we're too close, we need to take those steps to slow down a little bit, back off, and get that space in between us. So, you know, if something happens in that pack that's ahead of us, you know, we have the speed and the space managed to stop and be able to, you know, avoid anything that goes on.
Yeah, you know, you look at this video and you watch the you watch the speed. It starts at 56, and within 10 seconds you drop 3 miles per hour to 53, and it looks like you're continuing to drop speed. I think, I mean, yeah, you're definitely working on moving away, but to react a little bit better and a little bit faster. I do like the fact that everything about this says that vehicle in front of you is going to start moving away, and it is if you watch it to the end. It actually is a good video in the sense that recognizing where you are, and you can tell that the speed's coming off of the pedal.
Yeah, Dave, great point. And we're starting to see more and more of this to where the drivers are reacting to it, and we are seeing by the end of the video, we are starting to see, you know, that space increase a little bit, maybe the speed drop off a little bit to get that space. So, you know, that coaching is working.
Here's right at 1 second, need the space.
You know, again, here we're going to 70 miles an hour, and we're right at the speed limit, but we're about 1 second, 1.1, and so we just really have to increase that space there. So if something goes on, you know, we have the distance to get stopped so we don't rear end somebody. You know, and sometimes it's just a habit because it looks like a lot of space. You know, if I'm just looking at it, if I'm driving, I'm thinking, man, I got plenty of space there. But then when you look at the metrics and have somebody point out or count it out, you're just a second away, and so that's just too close. We need 3-4 seconds at least at 70 miles an hour. It really should be closer to 6 seconds.
Next video we got is called Stop, Don't Time It.
You know, here it is. It's that rolling stop again, and there's that stop sign. And I think so many times we get in that habit of just trying to time it so we don't lose what we think is going to be minutes out of our day or hours out of our day or whatever, because we see the vehicle go past. We see the vehicle slow down in this one. Wait for that vehicle to come past and then start, you know, accelerating again, just like he's just timing and waiting for it. And we can't do that because, one, it's the law to stop for the stop sign, and two, we may have missed something on that quick look. You know, another thing here is we have a bus turning, and so maybe the driver's thinking, well, you know, that bus is going to turn and it's going to protect that intersection for me. But that doesn't make it right that we're running through that. So, you know, stop means stops in all intersections and anytime that sign is there.
Our last video of the day is called Got the Space, Then Increase the Space.
You know, Dave, this is similar to what we were looking before. You know, we start out, we're a little bit too close, and we'll see the speed drop off a little bit. The space starts to increase, and we get that good following distance there. And then the driver is able to bump that speed back up and get it. So, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, hey, just back off for a couple seconds, increase that space, and then you can increase your speed back up to where you were, and you're really not losing any time at all. And so it's just about that speed and space and time management.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that the distance has increased, and you can even see the metrics change from red to green, just saying that a positive move has been made. You know, we talk about how close we are. We talk about, and look how subtle the change is, but how much it matters in the safety and the ability to stop and the ability to make a difference out there on the road. You're talking about, it doesn't look like much, but it really is a world of difference. The driver has increased the distance between he and the vehicle in front of him in enough sense. Look, went green.
Yeah, I mean, it's those safety features and the technologies that come out there, you know, that adaptive cruise that, you know, keep that space out there. You may have to slow down a little bit, but with adaptive cruise, you know, it lets you speed back up as soon as that space gets there. And we're starting to see more and more of this in these videos to where drivers are taking the correct action, you know, increasing that space, and then they're able to, you know, speed back up, not losing any time there.
Yeah, you can see the change, and as you do a count method on there, you really get to see a difference in the two videos. I mean, of not making a change and making a change, and they're so subtle, the differences, but they mean the world. I mean, they make a genuine difference in what the outcome will be and can be if involved in an accident. I'll tell you what most people get in the habit of, and we all involved in it. I was thinking of it when I was in traffic, and we were stopped on the freeway. And we're in a stopped position, and you don't have, you're no closer to the vehicle. I mean, as you were at a stoplight or whatever, you're about that far away. You can see the roadway in front of you. But as traffic started to move, everybody kept the same distance for a long time, and didn't create a much longer cushion than where they had been, and were more comfortable moving at that relative speed. And I'm telling you, heavy traffic like that, stop and go traffic, you want to give as much cushion as you can, because it can change in an instant. They're probably going to stop again, and you want to create that cushion. You may have somebody try to wiggle in front of you. You may have somebody trying to jockey positions if you leave a little bit of space. But I'm telling you, it's worth the effort. It's worth the intentionality behind making a change in the way you drive today. And I'm telling you, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about doing something a little different than you've always. Look, we get it. If you're telling yourself, if you're a 25-year driver or a 35-year driver, and you say, well, I've never had an accident, I'm great, but I don't need anybody to tell me anything. I don't need to learn anything new. That is a mistake we don't want you to make.
No.
We want you to be open to new ideas, open to the ability to change for the better, always work on your trade cap. Do you think Tom Brady, because he wants it, that he doesn't go out there and train anymore? I don't need to train. I don't need to practice. I don't need to practice anymore. You think he ever says that? I don't need to watch tape on myself anymore.
Yeah, I can't improve. I can't make any improvements.
I can't be any better than I got all these Super Bowl rings. I don't need to watch tape. That dude watches tape all the time.
I think he watched it in his sleep. I mean, he was just
that guy's out training. That guy's out trying to improve his trade because he wants to excel, exceed, and be the very best he can be all the time.
Yeah.
And we want the best for you. We want you to be the safest you can be. We want you to understand how important it is that you go out there and improve your trade craft and safety. That's why we're here. That's why we're at BCB Live. That's what we're doing here. We're bringing you the information necessary to make a small and minimal change. And it doesn't matter if you're behind the wheel in the truck, or you're the dispatcher, or you're the owner, or you're in an insurance company. Everybody has an opportunity to affect change within the industry in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Everybody has that.
Everybody.
The way you talk, the way you listen, the way you act. I'm telling you, all of these things matter. If safety matters to you, then what you have to do is go out there and find a way to be more involved in it.
Yeah. And if you see something, you have to say something. You have to share that safety. I mean, because, you know, you're learning stuff here as drivers. Hopefully we're learning stuff from here. You have to take it out to the public. You have to take it to your family, to your friends, to your kids, and help teach them and help show them what following distances look like, what speed and space management looks like, the importance of it, because you see it as professional drivers. You see it every day. Mile after mile, and so you just have to share that with people because you're the professionals out there and just want to continue, like Tom Brady, just continue to get better, to continue to learn.
You know, I'm making it more and more thinking about it when I get behind the wheel, like more and more.
Absolutely.
Not just jumping in the car and running up to the house because it's 10 minutes away, but working through some of the things mentally that I'm trying to make better. And I think, you know, it's necessary to try to do it. If you can change something for 28 days, specifically change something, they call that a new habit. They call that 4 solid weeks of doing it a different way, or the same repetitive way that you're doing it in a new way, like changing it, and you do it for 4 consecutive weeks, 28 days. That creates a brand new habit. But you have to continue to do it 28 days in a row, and that will create a brand new habit. And if you can change one thing, let's just say you change this year, you could change 12 positive things this year, right? You could change 12 positive things. That's huge. If it be slowing down at stale green or being careful at intersections, we're talking about intersections.
And so I mean, just being aware of that stale green and just approaching them a little bit differently.
Just a little, think about them a little. Don't be the guy that hits the accelerator and tries to shoot through the intersection. There are those.
Oh, yes.
There are those. And I have, in the past, I have done it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have done it. But I don't do it anymore. Stale green lights are too dangerous. Tried it. We see too many accidents. We've shown too many incidences on this show that make you want to be a little bit different out there.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it too. It's one of the things. I mean, the stop signs in the intersections are the 2 things that probably my driving right now that I'm focusing on the most to try to make those improvements, because I'd like to say I get stopped at every stop sign, but every once in a while you find yourself, and so it's just that habit. You have to be aware of it and focus on it and be willing to change.
One of my biggest issues is that I tend to look at people when I talk to them.
You've said that before.
And I do the same thing in the car. And even if they're in the back seat, and I don't turn around, but I'll look in the rearview mirror and talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a crazy thing. I try to find a way to look directly at somebody when I speak to them. I think it also has to do with when they talk. I want to see their mouth move because I can't hear them very well. But anyway, doing those kinds of things in the car, I found it very helpful to not, and my wife has been helping me not to look over at her when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm. Because it is a distraction. You take your eyes off
the road. Yeah, you take your eyes off the road
1 or
for
2
a minute,
seconds.
and that's it, and that's all that matters. So working on changing that right now is a habit, and trying to change that forever so that I don't, that I break that, right?
Yeah.
I definitely don't jack with the phone.
No.
So I try to, have you noticed, I've been keeping it in my pocket.
I have not noticed, but
Right. Well, no, I mean, I do it in the car. I put it in my pocket. I don't put it on the
dash anymore.
I
or
don't put
just
it on the console or put it in the little, I have a charging station on. I don't even put it in there. I put it in my pocket because I'm fat and I can't get it out of my pocket once I sit down and I put my seatbelt on. I can't get it out. So it doesn't even matter anymore. At that point, there's no looking at it till I get back up.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing, isn't it? Because you really want to know when that phone starts ringing or something. Oh man, this could be the
Yeah, this could be the
big prize money, right?
Big prize money. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather before you today to ask for your grace in all things. We ask you to help us today to be better than we were yesterday and to be more today than we could ever possibly be. Father, we ask that we spread the word. We go out there and we do things to make it better for each other, each of those around us. Father, we also ask that we be a blessing to someone in some way, shape, form, or fashion today. We ask all these things in your name. We pray, amen. Hey, everybody, be safe and be kind out there. We'll be back on tomorrow morning, yes, at 7 Central Standard Time. Yes, we will bring you weather and safety. And yes, we will bring a little bit more joy into your life right here at BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
That's right. See you guys.